Well, I'm sure we've all heard this word, seen this word all over Twitter, X, Facebook, any social media you're on, whether you get your news from Fox News or X, whether you get your news from Vox or X. We've all seen this word. So, what does this mean? What is a parliamentarian? I didn't think we had a parliament. I thought we had a Congress. So, what does this mean? Well, in this case, a parliamentarian is basically a appointed position that makes sure members of the Senate follow the rules. That's kind of what it comes down to. Now, the current one, McDonough, was elected or appointed by Harry Reid back in 2012. So she's been the parliamentarian for 13 years. And my understanding has done a relatively good job. Yes, we are all very annoyed at her two large mistakes. I think they're mistakes in this recent process. The first in requiring a vote of 60 plus senators to remove the 1.4 illegals off of Medicare or Medicaid. The second was in removing the silencer provision from the NFA. So, what is her job? What is she? So, the parliamentarian is basically kind of like the chief rule keeper. We've all heard everything she's done. She's removed these two big things. She removed the silencers from the NFA line item because it violates the Byrd rule. So, what's the Byrd rule? The Byrd rule is a rule that was placed in the Congressional Budget Act of 1974 or whatever that basically says what sort of provisions and stuff like that can be included in a reconciliation bill. And that's what the One Big Beautiful Bill is. It's a reconciliation bill. Now, reconciliation is a special process in Congress that allows expedited passage of legislation affecting federal spending. Usually these bills have to go through committee, they have to go through amendment process, and it takes weeks, months, and in some cases it can take more than a year. Now, according to the Byrd rule, if the provision is extraneous, it has to be removed. If there's no budgetary effect, meaning the provision does not produce a change in spending or taxes, if the budgetary impact is merely incidental to the non-budgetary policy change, it is very possible that the Byrd rule is violated by removing silencers from the NFA. Now, the question then becomes, who cares? The parliamentarian is an unelected official. Surely we don't have to listen to her, right? And you're right, we don't. So before we even get into overruling a parliamentarian, let's talk about overruling a claim that a violation of the Byrd Act is occurring. So in this case, McDonough says, hang on a second, guys, this line violates the Byrd Act. Anyone on that floor can make a motion to say, no, it doesn't. And then that motion must receive 60 votes to pass. So without even overruling the parliamentarian, you can make a motion. Any senator could have done this. And this is, I think, one of the things that annoys most people is there's multiple ways that this still could have passed. Both the 1.4 million immigrants off of Medicaid and the suppressors on the NFA. So 60 senators could have voted to waive the rule, the Byrd rule. Now, that doesn't happen a lot. And part of the reason is because not only is it hard to get 60 senators from one party, but if you start making rules or overruling Byrd rule stuff today, how does that affect the future? And senators, because of their 6-year term, they tend to play the long game when it comes to this stuff. So the way that it works is the bill is going through, it's being read, or well, being voted on, and the parliamentarian basically holds up her hand and says, hey, this violates X rule. The presiding officer, usually the president pro tem of the Senate or the vice president, can choose to uphold the ruling. If that presiding officer upholds the ruling, then the Senate can overrule the presiding officer. And in this case, a simple majority of 51 votes can overrule the presiding officer. And this is the one that I think pisses most people off. Is any senator could have gotten up there during the vote on the 1.4 million or on the suppressors and said, I disagree with the presiding officer. Let's have a vote. And they might have had the numbers. Now it's been really tight. And there's a decent chance that deals have been made behind back doors saying, look, I won't do this as long as you vote for this. That might be where it is. We know that shit happens. But this is the thing that I think annoys a lot of people is we don't know that. And it's obvious that these things could have passed and no one stood up. Even Ted Cruz, who, at least from perception wise, has been one of the more ardent supporters of Trump in the Senate, didn't say anything, didn't throw any challenges for any of these expulsions out. And I think that's what annoys people is we're not seeing the rules that are there to allow debate on these items to actually go through. Well, guys, that's what the Senate parliamentarian is. I hope you learned something. I hope the video makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. If it did, let me know as well. I'll see y'all next time. Until then, enjoy.